Hi everyone, it's Brittany and Katie with the Q team in Rochester, New York, and we're back today to address something that a lot of our clients are facing in this market, which is if they've already purchased a home and they are currently homeowners, how do they navigate winning an offer if they have to sell their house?
Yeah, so this has been a big topic, especially because a lot of people are like, I have to sell. I either need the money out of my house or, I want to make sure that I don't have two mortgages or two houses. Right. So, what do I do because this market is competitive as a buyer? So we wanted to kind of address the two main approaches, big picture approaches that we can take. I'll talk about number one and then Katie can kind of go on about the second option. Sure. But the first one is putting yourself in a non-contingent position with a mortgage. So basically what we're kind of telling our clients is that in order to compete, you have to be non-contingent in this market. So how do you do so? So the first way is that if you can qualify with the lender to be non-contingent without having to sell your house. Basically that means that I can purchase without having to sell my house and I qualify for both of those mortgages on paper. And what that really means is that you're going to be putting an offer on the house saying, I'm going to buy this house whether I sell my current house or not. Right. And what we're kind of explaining is that is a very calculated risk in this market because we know that if a house is priced right in a good condition, it's going to sell and it's going to sell quickly. Right. So
it'll sell.
Exactly. So, while you are technically saying I'm going to purchase this house without selling my house, the plan is that once your offer is accepted, you're going to list your house right away, and we're going to find that buyer hopefully right away, and then you're not really going to have those two houses that you're going to be owning.
And to play off of that a little bit is most of the time, the timing on your purchase and your sale can be simultaneous. So we try to keep as minimal of a gap as possible in these situations so that you don't have to make a double mortgage payment. But that being said, if you are selling and not being contingent when you buy, you can't count on the proceeds from your sale.
Absolutely. So we got it, and we'll work with the mortgage person to kind of understand, how much, if they didn't line up perfectly, right, how much you'll need to come up with. However, if you did have to, let's say dip into some of your savings that you weren't planning on because you wanted to use equity in your house, as soon as your house sells and you get that equity, you can replenish that right away. Yep. And I was going to talk about something else. I don't remember exactly. So we'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, let us know. Another option is, so you will likely have to always have your house sold before you write an offer if you're unable to qualify for two mortgages. So what that looks like is we will never leave you homeless. So we encourage people, if you have a house to sell and for any reason you're not comfortable going non-contingent or you can't qualify for a second mortgage on top of what you already have, there's ways around that. So what that looks like is we list your house, we find your buyer, and then we negotiate on your behalf for your purchase. Now, if we try to do that simultaneously, we have a contingency in there subject to transfer of title, which sometimes can also hinder our negotiating power. So, of course, we can still try to do it that way. A lot of people are trying that because they're so afraid that they're going to be homeless. We promise we will not leave you homeless. So what we can do is negotiate with your buyers for a rent back. So what that means is you close on your sale, the house that you currently own, and then we say to your buyers, Mr. Buyer or Mrs. Buyer, we don't have a house yet, or we needed to close on this in order to be competitive to purchase. So we would like to rent the house back for X number of days. And usually that's predetermined, pre-negotiated. But buyers in this market are generally saying, okay, fine, because
they got to work with us.
It's that or they don't get the house.
Right. So because it's so competitive, buyers are much more willing to kind of work on our terms and negotiate with us, because if they're up against, let's say there's 10 buyers that want your house, these buyers, in order to set themselves apart and, work on our terms, they're willing to kind of do what they have to beyond just price in order to get it. So if that means that we, if they have some time to be able to give us, to be able to find that next home, that they're willing to, as long as they're able to, which is great. The other kind of things that some people have done, if they're, still a little bit uneasy about potentially, needing that rent back or unsure about that timing, some people are like, hey, well, I have, my mom and dad have a room available that I'm able to kind of move in with them in the short term and stay with them while I'm still looking to find the home. Or they might say, hey, I'm gonna, I have a month-to-month rental option available, and I'm gonna move in there while I'm, hopefully looking and searching and being able to find my next home.
You know what's interesting is I just had somebody do an Airbnb because
good idea.
There's not a whole flood of people coming to Rochester for Airbnbs.
Right.
So she was able to find somebody that had X number of weeks available, and so that's what she's doing until she closes on her new house.
That's awesome.
I know. And she didn't want to risk not being able to take advantage of this market as a seller. So she's like, you know what, I'm just going to do it, and if I have to find some place to live, I'm going to deal with that when I have to.
That's awesome.
She had to, and she did, and she found a place, and she's going to be fine. She's not homeless.
Right, exactly. So I guess that ultimately kind of what we're getting at is that there's tons of options, and a lot of people as sellers, when they own a home, they're like, hey, I want to take advantage of this. I mean, some people that bought their house just a couple years ago, we just met with someone that they bought it, and right now, I mean, they can sell it or it's on the market, we can list it for almost 20 grand more than what they bought it for just a couple years ago. And that's, we'll see what the market dictates in terms of what they get for that. But, they're walking away with all this equity, and they're like, we want to take advantage of this market, and we want that equity to be able to put towards our next move up home. So that's what a lot of people are doing is like, let's take advantage of this market now as a seller, and we'll weigh our plan A, plan B, plan C, all those options to be able to take advantage and then put that, great equity that you just earned by making a great purchase a couple years ago towards your next home. And I thought of the one thing I was thinking of before, related to being, if you go purchase something non-contingent without selling your house, is that you usually have about a month lag before your mortgage payments even start.
Good point.
So it gives you a little bit of time where, if we didn't line them up simultaneously, as long as you have those, safety net funds we talked about, that you have usually about a month, sometimes a little bit longer, without having to make a mortgage payment on the new house, that you're not going to necessarily have that double mortgage payment. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility there.
Right. So all in all, we have several plan options for you. But really, there are tons of options for our sellers out there who want to buy and are nervous about having to sell also. But there's ways to do it. There's safe ways to do it. We're not going to leave you homeless. People are doing it every day. We're helping people do it every day. So if you find yourself in this situation and you want to take advantage of the market as a seller, please reach out to us. Let's set up a meeting to discuss what the options are, what that looks like for you, what the move looks like for you, what your finances look like, and see which option or plan would work best for your family.
Absolutely. So don't be scared. This is not a scary thing. It's actually a great thing. It's a great time to be a seller, and it's a great time to take advantage of that and be able to be a buyer and take advantage of the interest rates and your equity. So reach out to us, let us know, and we're here to help.
That's right.